Emerging from Toronto's underground rock scene, Brett Carruthers has carved out a sound that's raw, cinematic, and ever-evolving. His creative journey tracks fascinating metamorphosis from the early instinctive energy of aphasia and lie to the world-building intensity of a Primitive Evolution's landmark album Becoming. Today, Brett's influence is more pervasive than ever. Whether it's revisiting the prophetic themes of his 2018 track Dead Skies with a haunting new 2025 visual, shaping the lush landscapes of Birthday Massacre's 2025 release Pathways, or acting as the mad scientist behind the board at Desolation Studios. Today, I'm honored to sit and chat with Brett, and we hope to strip away the industrial armor to reveal the primitive, vulnerable heart of a songwriter who believes that to create is ultimately to evolve. Thank you, Brett, for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. That's a very kind intro. I like it.
Yes, very wordy.
Thank you.
Very wordy.
Well done.
All right, let's jump right in. This one's about your so many hats that you wear.
Right.
You balance the raw industrial energy of a primitive evolution with the lush textures of Birthday Massacre, all while being that mad scientist at the studio. When you're wearing so many hats as a producer, as a writer, as a performer, is it actually possible to switch off that producer brain and just exist as a songwriter? Or is the songwriting, so permanently fused with the way you engineer the sound?
Right. It is, like, recently it's been a bit of a battle, balancing the two where, there's a lot of work with clients that sort of take priority if they've got deadlines and things, where then I can find my own music can slip away sometimes through the cracks where you kind of prioritize other people's work over your own in some ways. So I do have to really schedule time to make my own music. Absolutely, because it can get I'll get really into a project and want to see the things on the to-do list done before I feel like I can move on to writing my own music. And that's been a learning process over the last couple of years where you have to prioritize writing. And it's also why a Primitive Evolution's release schedule is pretty far apart.
Yeah.
It's usually only an album every 5 years or so or something like that. And a lot of it's due to that nature of, this is my work, but it's also my passion. So where do you draw those lines? And
as a follow-up, because it's so scattered over the 5 years, do you find that the project evolves in so many different ways that you didn't anticipate before?
Yeah, maybe. And sometimes I don't mind it. It does make the songs better having that time to marinate and evolve over those years, where something, if we had just gone right into the studio and done it, we may not have done as many experiments and explored options that may not have existed, or a new collaborator or producer will come in and we've got this more songs in the collection to choose from to sort of make what the album will be.
Right. Cool. Speaking of evolution, you've often said that creation is evolution and that art should be raw and an instinctive mutation. When you look back at your earlier work compared to what you're doing now, do you see that your creation was kind of like a linear projection, or do you feel like it's constantly looping back to those primitive instincts from back then?
Ooh. Good
I
question.
know that's a deep one.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I was saying that whole with the gap in between, right? Because I think there's this instinctual part of creating a song.
Yeah.
And as it marinates that long.
Yeah. Is it still raw? Yeah. I think that yes, it's interesting when you put something down and write it the first time, and maybe it's just a riff. With a Primitive Evolution, we've always been more of a jam band first. So Stephanie, Stu, and I will go into the studio and write a whole bunch of stuff and maybe jam for 3 hours. And then I'll go through those sessions and find the moments of inspiration or where we locked in on a really cool idea. And a lot of the songs we've written have been done that way. So it's like when we actually go to do the record, I'll pull sort of like from this giant library of riffs and ideas and start writing off of those. And
so you're a lyrics second.
yeah, so the lyrics always come last for a primitive evolution. Where it's like the sound, the vibe of the song is already created, and then the lyrics will sort of follow that theme, or whatever that evokes out of me for emotional kind of depth is what I'll write about for that. So it's interesting. Like, we sometimes come up with a concept in mind, like this album's going to be more leaning towards this, or we've tried to go like a concept album route in the past, but it sort of gets derailed at some point. Like, maybe we could write 3 songs that have a story arcing kind of thing, but then
it seems
we never really followed it through, like where it's this character that goes through a story, because there's always like emotional songs or a different topic that gets thrown in there, and then the whole thing kind of gets derailed. But maybe that is too because it takes so long to make the album that you're like, well, I see where we were going here, but maybe we should write like a song like this instead, and or this is what this album needs right now. It needs like more of, like, it needs a couple slow songs, or it needs a really heavy song to balance the album out.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Do you this is a total follow-up question, but do you have that difficulty in trying to find that balance of maintaining your own authenticity and producing something that somebody else wants?
Right. Yeah, like in terms of like with the primitive evolution, it's completely what we want.
Okay.
Yeah, which is great because we have never been in a situation where people are like telling us what to do.
Okay.
Which I'm very grateful for. So it's interesting, but there's always this thing like when you write everything for yourself, how does that get interpreted by people? And I think like the goal is just to evoke emotion and sort of like a catharsis for the band and myself, to like use it as therapy to release those things out into the world and hope that it relates to.
Eventually connect with.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's switch over to the studio side of things. At Desolation Studios, I've known that you've called it a creative cave with with a whole bunch of boutique pedals that you've called the Stompbox Mania. I see that you brought some here today.
Yeah.
For someone who loves getting a little weird with the gear and finding those dirty, warm, cinematic tones, how does this technology actually dictate the mood of the songs you write? Or conversely, and you already told me this, the lyrics don't come first. Does a specific, fuzzy pedal or something, shift where a song is going?
Yeah. I think a lot of the reason why I fell in love with pedals was that every pedal will sort of be a song. Like every time I get a new pedal, I'll sit down with it and spend time learning it, and I always write a song every time I like kind of buy one. So I think that's part of the addiction.
Yeah.
Is like, what idea will this give me? And if you've got writer's block or you need a dopamine fix, then that's kind of what I'm leaning on these days. Where it's like, I wonder what this pedal will do. But it will always give me something. So, and then, some more so, like some pedals better than others, maybe some pedals more inspiring than others. But it's always fun to sit down and like, it forces you to like invest in that purchase as well and be like, okay, I need to take some time to learn this pedal and play guitar for myself and not do it as a job. And it gives you that freedom again to like go back to that mind the raw mind or the more primitive approach
Yeah.
where you're just playing music because you like playing music instead of like, oh, I gotta write a song today, or the album's late, or this person needs me to write a backup vocal, or that you can
Right.
it lets all that stuff melts away, and then you can lose yourself in the pedal board.
Cool.
Essentially.
And, do you want to have some fun with them today?
Yeah. Well, because we're doing an acoustic song, so I loaded it up with some reverb and delay pedals. Yeah. Do you want to go through some of these
Sure.
and what they do? Like, just for fun, because it's part of like the process. But we've got this pedal here. That's really nice. It's called Lower. It's by Walrus Audio, and it's, I don't know, it's a reverb and a delay. We could pop in. It's a reverb and a delay. And you can actually hear it echoing on my voice through the acoustic, which sounds kind of cool actually. That could be like a whole thing right there. So it has a bunch of different like engines in it that have different delay and reverb combinations. So I think the one I have it on right now has like a shimmer reverb and a reverse delay. You can turn it up a bit. But it gives a really nice textural. You can sort of hear those like reverse delays in it. So we've got something like that. I feel like it's vibe for days. And then I love stacking pedals as well, so like this is another Walrus pedal, and we'll add like another shimmer reverb to kind of support that one. It just gets thicker and thicker. And then if we add, some modulation, if we want to do some chorus, and maybe another, this one's like a dirty, distorted reverb. Let's crank up the weird on it, so it makes things even weirder. Maybe we'll turn this one down a little. Right now we've got like even more texture. And a little bit of dirt. You could I could do that for like the entire day.
That's so awesome.
Of just layering. For acoustic, none of these distortions would really be great, other than maybe the Ibanez tube screamer. Just a little bit of grit on it. It's endless. So that's why I love pedals so much.
Thank you. Thank you for showing us a little glimpse into that.
No problem.
Fantastic. All right, next question's about what you've learned along the way. You spent a lot of time behind the board helping other artists finding their sound. What is most surprising thing that you've learned about your own musicality when you're dissecting someone else's musicality? does producing for others ever hold up a mirror to your own habits or to your own talents?
Right.
Does it kind of blend into what you're doing for others?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I think it's made me more decisive, if anything. Like it is helpful that way. When you kind of can take an objective opinion on someone else's work that's helpful to them or that they're actually coming to you for, it definitely helps me when doing my own material to be a little more objective and like, okay, maybe this part's too long, or we could chop this out, and those things that you're thinking about. It's a lot about structure and how like the song develops and where certain things hit and how you're going to make it as emotionally impactful as possible. So I think the more I do it with other people, the better I am at kind of doing it to myself as like a pre-production thing. So it saves time in the long run, I think, for sure. But I definitely have learned a lot about that, where you have to like be able to step back, to be objective, not hold on to things so tightly, being able to let go and collaborate with people more. So it really opened me up to actually searching out those collaborations with others. Like on this newer album, I'm working with like our friend Ryan McCambridge is, helping out with some songs, and I went down to LA and worked with the bass player from A Perfect Circle, Matt McJunkins. He was super interested in like bouncing some ideas around, and I might not have been as open to these ideas maybe 10, 12 years ago as I am now, and it's more exciting to collaborate with more people and bring them into the band and see how that can evolve the project and sort of change things. Yeah.
It all comes back full circle to evolve.
Yeah, always evolving.
Always evolving.
I think that's part of the obsession of it all too, or like why we named the band that. Is this like we're just constant. Whether you're trying to improve yourself or it makes you worse, it doesn't really matter as long as you're working towards something and creating and changing and evolving to these new circumstances.
Love that. You brought up writer's block earlier. Is it easier to work through your own writer's block compared to somebody else that you're working with, helping them get through theirs?
Oh, I don't. That's
I mean,
a good question.
you've got this as your tool to kind of help you.
Yeah. Well, and maybe that's like if you're coming in to produce or co-write with someone, maybe it's already because you have writer's block, and you're like, okay, I need someone to help me get out of this funk. Or like, and it is kind of the perfect time to bring in like a co-writer or someone that you respect to just come into the studio, listen to your songs, work on something together, write something together to break you out of that. Like if you've been stuck on a song or obsessing about something, sometimes all you need is that person to come in and be like, what if we just like, that wasn't the chorus, it's the pre-chorus, and it amps up to this other level. Or what if we change this around? Or what if your bridge is your pre-chorus? Or like they might see the song in that way, and then it will hit you, and then that's like the lightning will just come flying out from there.
Cool.
Yeah, but I think it's hard to get someone out of that rut too. Been there before, where you're like, what about this? What about this? But if they're like, I don't know, and then you just have, hopefully from that session, if you revisit it a few days later, then sometimes it takes longer than others, or and a pedal doesn't always fix it if you're just like, that's not the right thing, or we got to try something else, or scrap this and move on. And there's a lot of cool books out there. There's like that I think it's Brian Eno, and it's those creativity cards. I think it's Brian Eno, but it like if you're stumped in the studio and he just has this deck of cards, and it's like you just pull a card out and it says like, do everything backwards, or like it's just like a way to kill
whatever you do, something different.
It
gets triggered.
And it's just like a deck, cool. And you just pull it out, and then you're like, okay, what if we reverse this, or change this around? Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's talk about Dead Skies. You recently revisited that song with a new video marking the 80th anniversary of Hiroshima,
Right.
noting that the song feels more prophetic now than when you wrote it before.
Right.
When you look back at your catalog, you find that older lyrics, you know, we're back to evolving here, but
Yeah.
older lyrics evolve in meaning to you.
Yeah.
And does it sound like Dead Skies, you know, feel entirely new to you compared to when you first wrote it?
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe when you write something, sometimes you don't really even understand why you're writing it. Maybe it's, and you're pulling from all these things, emotions, or what we're kind of hearing in the media. And yeah, I think the song Dead Skies was written sort of as a bit of a protest song. And the time it was written, maybe we weren't as pissed off as we are now even. So it did feel appropriate to do the video and kind of bring back these themes of, you know, corporate greed and just the state of our culture and like this income gap and the way people are becoming so polarized against each other, which always felt to me like the play of our current society, like post-World War II. Where we live in North America, we have so much and we can kind of do whatever we want, really. It's so easy for us. And now, so we create problems and turn against each other. And it seems like our government is not helping any of that. It's actually like kind of pushing that further and creating more division. So that song is about that divide, and it really is more, you know, prevalent now than when I wrote it, for sure.
Yeah.
So that song became more powerful to me, definitely. But I do feel like it still has the same vibe as maybe even like something from the 70s would. And like a lot of the stuff that Pink Floyd was singing about is sort of the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just in a different way. And, you know, as decades go by, we just get more and more pissed off and the music becomes more angry than it was. So like protest music from each decade, it just feels like it's getting more intense and more aggressive, and that seems to be just the natural evolution of the whole thing. And so that we finally did the video for it because it just felt very suiting with the climate that the world's in right now. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right, time to play. Acoustic vibes.
Acoustic vibes.
You've agreed to perform an acoustic arrangement today. It's a style that's a far cry from what you do on a regular basis up on that stage.
Indeed.
With that wall of sound. You've mentioned before that for a song to be truly soulful, it has to, you know, stand on its own.
Yeah.
So what is it like for you emotionally to kind of de-evolve the song back to its most basic form?
Yeah.
Where, you know, there's nowhere for that lyric to hide. So does it feel like you're exposing the true heart of the song when you're meeting it acoustically again?
Right. Yeah. I would say the stripped down, it's always interesting. Like doing stripped down versions of things, I've always been way more nervous about doing than getting up on stage and playing with a band. Like that feels like breathing. Playing like an acoustic guitar alone and bare in front of people always feels like, oh god,
vulnerable,
like vulnerable, open. So yeah, when it's stripped down like that, it completely changes how the approach feels. I've gotten more used to it over the years. Obviously, it gets easier every time you do it. So, but back in like 2012, we made a record with that intention of it being an acoustic album. And it was supposed to be a really quick album. We were just like, okay, we're just going to go in the studio, we're going to bang out some acoustic songs. But we made friends with producer John Wozniak from Marcy Playground. He was producing the record, and he had a whole other vision, and it turned into like this crazy epic acoustic record. So it wasn't so much stripped down. It had like string arrangements and, you know, percussion and layered vocals, and so it got really intense, and we ended up being in the studio for like 11 months or something.
Wow.
Which was a great experience, and we had a wonderful time, but it definitely turned out to be an entirely different thing than we went into it thinking. So I'll play a song off of that album called I Feel It All.
Cool.
In its true acoustic format.
Awesome.
Just guitar. Well, we'll use some pedals since they're here. Yeah.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. I Feel It All is this song. It's an older one. But also to acknowledge this guitar, which Smitty and I have been raving about as we've been working on it. This is my friend Lincoln's guitar, who passed away in 2020. So I inherited this piece, and it sings like no other guitar I've played. We love it, and I think it's because Lincoln played it every day, and you can tell when someone really plays a guitar and it's been loved. It really changes how it sounds, how it feels. So yeah, this is I Feel It All.
2018 was the last album.
Yeah.
When's the next one?
The next album. Great question, Rob.
Yes.
So we put out an EP a couple years ago for Ace of Spades, and then I was supposed to have the new Ape record done, I want to say a year ago. I wanted it done. So it's very behind schedule. Tour with Birthday Massacres coming up January, Feb. So March, I'm going to lock myself in the studio and begin recording the next Ape record. So that'll be like dedicated time. I might even have to convince my friends to not let me leave. And, you know, there might be some like, I don't know, just lock the door, throw away the key. You can't talk to Brett for the next 4 weeks. But because I will get distracted, so I need to just focus and get it done. We have a bunch of songs. We probably have like 17 songs written for it.
Oh wow.
So now it's a matter of like, you know, what are the songs that are going on the record. We just had a really good like family band meeting over Christmas about it, where we selected like our top 12 out of the chunk. So we axed a few like, you know, put it in the come back to pile.
Yeah.
And it's always nice to have those songs too to pull from if you, again, writer's block, whatever,
Yeah.
right? If you've got some unused B-sides and things like that laying around, it's always really helpful for the writing process, for sure.
So 2026.
2026 is the plan. We'll see.
Very cool.
Can we get it out by the fall 2026? I would love that. That's the goal.
Cool.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you for that.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, we talked about it earlier, how you get sidetracked with all sorts of other things. So
Yeah.
I think they do need to lock you in that room and not let you leave
Yeah,
until it's done.
yeah, absolutely. And it's perfect timing, coming off a tour, and you know, you've got a bit of money to pay rent, and you know, like that's the thing. You can just be covered. To know that you're covered, it's hard to do that too. Like there's so many things working against the creative person.
Sure, absolutely.
And money's a huge factor, right?
Yes,
Like you got
the starving artist.
find the time to make the music, but you got to make money to keep the studio, and you've got to do these things. So it all piles up. Yeah.
Super cool. Listen, man, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh,
Thanks
thank you.
for opening up and sharing your heart as a songwriter today. It's been really cool to see the person behind all that gear and how much
Thank you.
thought and feeling goes into everything that you do. So
Oh.
this has been really nice.
Thanks so much, Rob.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much for being
it's great. It's great. Great interview and wonderful questions. It was really nice.
Thank you.
Thanks.